Sticking with your ketogenic diet while you're eating at parties and other social events can be a challenge. In this video, we're going to show you how Keith has been doing it while following his ketogenic diet. Hi, I'm Dr. Becky. I am a college instructor of the science of nutrition.
And I'm Dr. Keith. I'm a chiropractor in private practice for the past 26 years, and you're watching Two Fit Docs, where we turn weight loss resistance into weight loss results.
And we do that with using Keith as our guinea pig and allowing you to watch him live as he is losing weight, following a strict low-carb diet, what we would call a ketogenic diet. And each week, if you follow along on our channel, you know that we check in with Keith to see what his progress is. So let's get a progress report.
Okay, so from last week to this week, I've lost 1 pound. I was not super happy about that, but it's still a pound.
That's good progress.
It's still a pound. Yeah, you're right. And in total, I've lost 54 pounds. So we're still on the right track. Everything's moving the same way. It was, we might get into a little bit. It was a little bit weird. It was up and down and kind of all over the place in the last week. And we did have a social event that was kind of tucked in there that may have had something to do with it.
Right. And so we should say that too that those 54 pounds have come off over, what is it, 23 weeks
23,
now.
Yep.
And obviously during those 23 weeks we've had different social events, going out to eat with friends or having a party or some type of
Family
event come
together,
up.
yeah.
And you're right, we did have one this week come up. And every time that there is a type of social eating, one of the problems that you have is that you don't have control over all of the meal choices. So how do you handle yourself when you're at a party like that?
Well, I guess the first thing is you make a commitment that you're not going to say, well, I'm just going to take a night off and hit the cake and the dessert, because whenever you go to these things, there's a multitude of dessert options, you know, and there's a few dinner options, but usually everybody brings, you know, a dessert or something. So you kind of got to tell yourself ahead of time that you're not going down that road.
Okay.
The next thing is you just kind of look and see what's there, you know, and your choices may be limited, and you have to be okay with that. You know, I try and, if I have a choice of red meat over chicken, I would take the red meat because it's got a higher fat content. Chicken is higher protein, and that could kind of kick me out. We've talked about that in the past. Any kind of lettuce salad, you know, like a dinner salad, where I can have full fat dressing on it is a good thing. You got to stay away from any of the, you know, the potato salads and macaroni salads and any salads that are mixed up, because you just don't know. I mean, when we make these things at home, we can make them, we have control of what goes in them. You have no idea what goes in them. And the same with most of the casserole type dishes and those types of things. So sometimes very limited. I might only have, you know, a hamburger or a couple of hot dogs, or, you know, if I can get some cheese to put on those things or some sour cream, that's all the better. But, you know, it is just one of those things. You have to be okay with it.
Yeah, you do. And those might not be your healthiest fat choices, but yet they're not going to kick you out of ketosis necessarily. And they're going to allow you to like stay in the game, so to speak. But what we've found, though, that even though we'll go to a party or something and Keith feels like he's made the best food choices possible, the next day, a lot of times your weight will be up.
Be up a little bit. Yep.
So you kind of have developed a little bit of a kind of a loose strategy for dealing with the day after a party. So maybe you can share that.
Right. So I kind of almost figure that my weight is quite possibly going to be up the next day, and I'm not going to be upset about that. I just know that it's going to happen. It's not going to be up as bad as if I just went like whole hog. So the big thing is to kind of get my body back, you know, work those carbohydrates, anything that might have been hidden, out of my system, get back into fat burning, back into ketosis, and I do that by number one, intermittent fasting, which we talked about last week. So I will delay having anything to eat that following day until, you know, later in the afternoon or evening. If I get busy, it doesn't bother me at all. And the second thing is that I really look at my food choices for that first meal and make sure that they're really high fat and super low carbohydrate. Okay. Because that's going to help kind of push me back in that ketotic state, you know, a little bit quicker.
Right. So a ketogenic diet, what you're striving to do is make ketones your body's main fuel. So there's two fuel choices your body has. It's either glucose, which is sugar, blood sugar, or it has ketones. So when you're on a ketogenic diet, you want to be utilizing ketones. They are a byproduct, so to speak, of fat breakdown. So you use intermittent fasting. Your body then uses up any of the glucose, any of the sugar that it might have had from hidden things in those party foods. And then your body is now forced to turn back to ketones for energy.
Right.
So that is the advantage of a day after a party, when you're trying to follow a ketogenic diet, to delay your meal the next day, because your body is going to burn through those sugar molecules and turn back to ketones. So I think that's a great strategy, and it has certainly worked. We had a party this weekend, but yet your weight was still down a pound. So.
Yeah, and even over the weekend, we talked a little bit about working, intermittent fasting, some of these things. It kind of fluctuates quite a bit, but we kind of record my weight. I record it every day, but on these videos we do it on the same day of the week, so that we have very consistent things. So as long as I'm down from this day to that day next week, that's a step in the right direction.
Right. Right. So it takes some mental stamina to keep going on a diet of any sort, whether it's a low carb or a ketogenic diet. You got to keep your head in the game. So if you would like to get started with a ketogenic diet or a low carb diet, we've put together a starter kit. It shares our 0-1-2-3 strategy, which is how Keith keeps fiber in his diet. It also includes the foods that he's added to his diet and the foods that he's subtracted from his diet to make the best possible food choices for his really great weight loss that he's been experiencing over the past 23 weeks. So if you would like that, we will leave links here on the video where you can download that.
And if you want to follow along with my progress, make sure and subscribe. We'll be back next week with another update.
All right. Thanks. Till then.
See ya.